I'd say it's 2:30 now. We're a follower. Let's do the thing. Alright, hi everybody. Welcome to VTubing for Beginners. My name is Mick Sater. This over here is Legend of Larcy. We are both VTubers. How many of you know what that means? Great. You can drop your hands. How many don't know what that means? Haha, awesome. We can cut to the chase. Real quick, it is virtual YouTubing, which is a misnomer because it's virtual avatar for whatever you're doing, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Any time where you want to have a live action character that you are puppeteering, basically, is what we are referring to when we refer to VTubing. I'm sure many of you are aware of some very big names in VTubing. For example, we've got large studios like Hololive and VShojo, and we've got lots of independent VTubers who have made who have turned their coin, who have become popular in their own right, but aren't necessarily affiliated with a professional company, a professional studio. Thank you. We're just gonna dive right in because the thing that I think is going to take the most amount of time is I mentioned that we're going to do some live model rigging today, but I want to tell you a little bit about the different kinds of VTubing and the different ways that you can get involved in how do you make, how do I get involved. Anybody here streamers? Awesome. Any of you here VTube streamers? Oh, cool. So then, for some of you guys, this is going to be a retread. For some of you, anybody make their own models? Nice. Oh, cool. How many of you are PNG tubers? I will explain to those of you in the audience who don't know what PNG tubers means. I will explain. How many of you are 3Ds? Excellent. Any 2Ds in the house? Excellent. Excellent. Beautiful. PNG tubing refers to the file type PNG, which is like the new GIF for JPEG. The idea is you are a static image that flips into other static images. Here we have an example of a PNG tuber, Vesper, when he is talking and when he is not talking. And basically what happens is when he is not talking, you get one image, but when he starts talking, it flips to this other image. Usually you can get one or two images to do this, but you can get actually several because some websites, like the one that I am showing via QR code here, can take up to 4 images so that you can hotkey in and have different expressions, or you can make your character blink. Things like that. So there are some websites that you can use to make your PNG character more interactive. Some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages to PNG tubing include that it is super inexpensive. You only need like 2 images to create the illusion of a character moving and talking. It is very easy to set up. Most people can set up a PNG character for their broadcasting system in a matter of minutes. At most, it'll take you like a half an hour if you really don't know what you're doing. But Dr. YouTube is wonderful at telling you how to set stuff like this up. Expressions are possible, as I mentioned earlier, in this QR codable source. You can easily just hotkey in some expressions so you can have more than just mouth open, mouth closed, for example.
We had a really good stream where there was like 3 or 4 of us who were all PNGs playing Monster Prom.
Yeah.
So all of us were lighting up, and it was really basic, but it was also fun because we could still see who was talking.
Limitations, of course, is that it's limited animation. You are a flat object, and you can on or off. Think of it as binary. It's an on or an off switch. Those limitations mean that maybe you want something a little bit more intense or involved, and that's okay. A lot of people will get their start PNG tubing and then build to something more. This is especially true if you are, say, commissioning artwork and rigging from a person on the internet or a friend or whatever, while you're waiting for that all to be done, you can oftentimes take a character artwork and just do this to get your feet wet. When we're talking about streaming with VTube models, I always recommend to get started that you start with PNG tubing because it'll give you a sense of whether it's worth it if that's something you want to do. If it's not something you want to do, then you haven't wasted a lot of time or money because you'll do it for like a couple weeks and be like, oh, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I want to go back to like meet tubing where you are in person and streaming, or maybe I want to go back to not streaming at all, or maybe I want to do like completely faceless streaming. That's fine. PNG tubing is just your way of getting your feet wet before putting any financial downfalls or time into it.
Wait, is it actually called meat tubing?
Yes. Some of us call it meat tubing.
Hey,
Yes.
I don't like that.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
I imagine like a hamburger talking or something like.
And you are correct to do so.
Well, good thing that's where your mind went.
So another way that you can get involved in this way is probably one of the ways that has the biggest potential is 3D streaming. Most people will start by downloading these two programs, VRoid Studio and vMagic Mirror. VRoid Studio is the program that you use to generate your model, a 3D model. And the program has a preset humanoid form upon which you add and modify. So you can start with a character. Come on, you can come on space. You can start with a generic character and you can change their skin tone. You can add to it. They'll have preset hair and clothes that you can choose from. So you can download this and start in pretty quickly right away. But it's one of those things where the more time you put into it, the more craziness. Yeah, no worries. You fine. The more craziness you can build onto it by the more effort you put in. vMagic Mirror is the software that you download onto your computer that allows your webcam or your cell phone, whatever you're using for a facial capture. And usually cell phone is the more, or iPad or some sort of face cap device. That's usually the better of the things to use. But vMagic Mirror is what communicates your face to your model. Question over there.
I was just going to say, other good programs to use if I gave up and love it. They're both good for 3D models.
Excellent, thank you. These are the ones that I have experience with, so there are some that, there are tons more software that are out there. I'm just giving you ones that I have my own personal experience with so that I can answer specific questions about that, but there are so many things out there now. VTubing has really taken off in the last 2 or 3 years, and so as a result there are more people who are trying to get a piece of that pie and do more with it. The benefit of that means that there are going to be programs that you can use that will optimize better for your personal style. So that's good.
And it's more accessible too.
Exactly. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages to 3D modeling include that you have full body animation available to you. If you want to raise your hand, your character will be able to raise their hand. They'll be able to turn their hand. That is much easier because technically your model is a 3D rendered model. It has a full flesh, it has dimensions that are programmed into space, digital space, but space nonetheless. Because it's 3D, you can have a lot of movement. The disadvantages, yes, with some of these 3D programs, money can be involved, so things might not be free. And then the other big disadvantage is it's one of those things that I refer to as a low entry, high ceiling. That expression means it's easy to get into and get started and start with the basics. But if you want to do something specific and you want to get into I want to have this very specific thing happen and this very specific thing happen, it can get a little more challenging to do that, and you really need to either find someone who can or find YouTube tutorials that are sort of like this very specific thing. A lot of it is you have to kind of poke around and figure out yourself still, and that is challenging. The good news is YouTube has been a lot better at, now that more and more people are getting into it, there are more and more tutorials available. With Vroid Studio, a lot of the modifications are done by adding hair to your model. It's kind of Bayonetta in that way. So like, for example, I'm gonna go back to this model. This is my friend Nimbus. She took a base and then elaborated on it, so she made her model. Those clothes designs, this halo that she has is made out of hair. She programmed hair and she designed it and she made it like, you know, move in a certain way, but she refers to it as Bayonetta. It's still hair, which is bizarre. Learning how to do that did take her a little bit of time. She had to, you know, go through the effort of finding the YouTube videos of someone who did something that was kind of similar. I think she found someone who made a necklace, and she used what she learned from the necklace to apply it to the halo. So a lot of it is going to be like, if you have something specific, you might not find that very specific thing on YouTube, but if you just keep watching and seeing what people's tutorials look like, you might be able to figure it out over time and apply it to you. Waterbreak. The thing that I specialize in is 2D streaming. These are the programs that I use predominantly. I use Live 2D, or Live 2D Cubism is the full name of it. Most people just call it Live 2D. That's the software I use to animate in. VTube Studio is the software that I use to make my 2D model communicate with my face. When some of you came in early, saw me moving my little face character around, I was using the program VTube Studio. I have also used this other program, PRPR Live. I personally don't like the interface as much as I do with VTube Studio. And I appreciate that VTube Studio does a lot of cool updates. Most recently, they made an update where you can actually change the color of your model, or like different parts of your model. So technically I could change my hair color using VTube Studio and I wouldn't have to go through this crazy rigmarole to do it. I could just use slider bars in VTube Studio, which is cool, and I like that.
I wonder if they're Android friendly now.
The disadvantage of VTube Studio, and the reason why some people glom to PRPR Live, is when you're talking about operating systems, VTube Studio works the best with Apple-based products, iOS. It still works with Android, it just doesn't work as well. And there are some functions that they have not yet developed. They keep saying on their website that they're working with Android products and that they're gonna get there, but for example, the hand motion, being able to integrate your hand capture, is not a function that you can use with Android, but it is a function you can use with Apple. Is that elitist? Yes. Is that terrible? Yes. I got nothing else to say about that. Webcam is going to be the thing that gives you the least amount of input. Like, so with webcam, I would not be able to do gestures and have my character's gestures trigger with that, unfortunately. But again, a webcam doesn't have the same facial capture that a smartphone does. And that's an important distinction, unfortunately.
Smartphones are really intuitive these days.
So, advantages. You can be literally anything. With 3D models, you can be anything also, but most people don't make their own 3D character from scratch in Blender and then import it and have like, you know, I'm gonna be a 3D cloud, and I'm just gonna be a lovely little fluffy cloud in 3 dimensions, and I'm gonna make that. Most of the time when you're using 3D models, you're using a vaguely humanoid shape that you're modifying. With 2D, you can do whatever you can draw, you can make animate. It's great if you're looking for that cartoony look. So if you're looking for it to be like, I want to be an anime character, fabulous. This is how you can be that anime character. So it's more like Sailor Moon Original, not Sailor Moon Crystal. You feel me on that? Some of you guys know me? Okay, some of you guys are like, I know what you're talking about. Another advantage is, what you animate is what you get. That's awesome. But that's also a disadvantage, because that also means that if you didn't animate it, it don't happen.
I like that it, like, for me, I'm not the greatest artist. Mink created my VTube model.
It was
as
like
you
forever
see.
ago and you don't. Sorry.
But like the
That's her at the bottom by the way.
being less of an artist, I was still able to draw my own little minions and paste them into VTube Studio. So as I play games on Twitch, I add in the things that I have encountered to my model. As you can see in this one, I have from Hollow Knight a bunch of the little maggot guys.
There's one
From the
hanging off your
false knight.
ponytail. She also has a power crown on for some reason.
I also, when I was playing Dark Souls, drew myself an axe that I can like pin to my body so it moves with me. So I had a huge axe for like, I don't know, a couple months. That was very, I would say it interrupted my stream because every time I moved my head, the whole thing would go weird.
Which can be funny.
It's
But-
it's funny, but also.
Right.
But
you
at
want
least
to
it
do a little
allows
bit.
you that. Like you can pull a picture off of Google, cut it out, and put it in there, and it enhances your model. It's real easy.
So
I did have the Hollow Knight mask.
as with anything, money is can be an issue for some of these programs. That is a disadvantage with the program Live 2D. Some of you before we were chatting a little bit before the panel started. Live 2D is a program that is free for 45 days.
Hopefully you can figure it out in that
Well,
time.
when I started this, I figured out my model and rigged my model and did everything before the 45 days was up, but I knew I was going to want to do a lot of tweaks as I go. So I wound up purchasing a license. Now the license itself is like around $300 for 3 years because they do like a 1-year license or a 3-year license, and the 3-year license is always cheaper, and I knew I was going to be into it. That was a me choice. You guys don't have to make the same choice. If you are a student or if you are a teacher, anyone who's got an email address that ends in .edu, you can get a substantial discount on Live 2D. VTube Studio is free to download. VTube Studio Pro has a couple other advantages to it. For streaming purposes, it's like $15. You're not going to break bank on that, but it is a nice thing to use. All right. Now that we've spent the first 15 minutes going through the stuff that was like, okay, cool, great. Let's get to the meat of what we're doing today. The meat of what we're doing today is we are going to animate a character
I love
that
this character.
you guys can use guilt-free because I'm just giving it to you. If you want it after the show, I will give you my info. I'll just like give you my card with my QR on it. You guys can just message me on whatever social media works for you, and I will just send you the files and just be like, vaya con Dio, enjoy. May you use it with blessing. Would you like to see the character that you will have available to you following this presentation? All right, ready? This is Juan. This is Juan.
Yet another unrealistic expectation for women to live up to.
Right?
I love that.
So Frog is a frog presenting character. I drew it this morning in Photoshop. Frog is made up of a body, a left hand and right hand, a left foot and right foot, a left eye, a right eye, and the mouth, which is 3 pieces. The inside of the mouth, a top lip, and a bottom lip. The top lip is in green, the bottom lip is in green. The back of the mouth is that pinkish stuff. That's the assets that I have used for Flog. Flog does not have a lot of assets. Your character that you may want to make in your future might have 1 billion, and that's okay. The more it has, the more potential you have to animate it and make it move and do cool things. Today I'm just going to show you something very basic of how to set everything up so that all you have to, so you can take your own thing and make it magic. Or you can use this one. I don't know, whatever works for you. The more at 11.
I'm definitely changing my model.
Are you gonna use Flog?
At my
I would
Oh, God.
live if
I
you
would
used
die.
Flog. That would be so good.
I'm
And
gonna put a power crown on it.
if you wind it, and if you use VTube Studio, you can actually change Flog's colors. So Flog can be whatever color you want. Yes, question
Okay,
back
could I
there.
have like my normal VTuber avatar but then have Flog on my head. And so when I say stuff, it looks like Flog is saying the same thing, so I have like a double
So
avatar.
to do that actually requires animation of like on top of your other character.
Yes.
So what it would mean is you'd have to find a way to combine that. And unfortunately, right now, VTube Studio doesn't really have a very clean way of combining parameters
Well,
like that.
crap.
So it unfortunately wouldn't be able to work quite like that. It's something that like, if I had your original like CMO file, CMO3 file, I'd be able to like help you with that. But unfortunately, the best I could do, to quote Pawn Stars, like the best I could do is, the best I could do would be to just have it available as a static PNG that you could import in and have it sit on your head as you know, with a hotkey on-off switch.
That's okay. I mean, Gergo's the greatest idea I've ever had for anything ever, but you know.
That's I'm sorry.
Me too.
You've had better ideas than that.
What source?
So I get to yeet out of that software and go to my desktop. Signal processing. Please wait.
There it is.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba. All right.
We're
This
back.
is gonna happen at all times. This is a very cluttered desktop, and I apologize.
All of your secrets.
You would probably die to tell mine.
Yeah.
So right now I'm opening Live 2D Cubism. This is the software I mentioned before that I purchased, and it's gonna give me a bunch of like, do you want? Oh, maybe it's not because I opened it this morning, so I don't have to deal with that. Every 24 hours, it'll give you a bunch of like, there's a new version available. Do you want to download it? Here's our like software helper. Do you want to like look at tutorials? And actually, I hate to say it, but like the Live 2D tutorials actually slap. Each one's like roughly 5 minutes long, which means they're not egregious, and they're really helpful. That's how I learned how to animate my models. So use them. Weirdly, reading the manual is helpful. I know.
Who'd have thunk?
I believe this is a Japanese company, so the manual is translated, but they did a good job with localization. They translated it well. One thing I will say about using Live 2D to make your model animate, you do need to have a .psd, a Photoshop file, to animate. Now, Photoshop is expensive. I have Photoshop because, again, teacher discount. It's not as expensive. GIMP also makes Photoshop files. GIMP is free. You just need to make sure that you save whatever your drawings are as a Photoshop file. The reason is because everything needs to have layers. The body, you'll see when I upload it, the body of the character, the eye, the leg, everything is on its own layer, and that's essential because anything that moves needs to be on its own layer. If it doesn't move, it can be on the same layer, but everything that moves has to be on its own layer. Let's upload it. Here's Flog. Here's Flog up here. I'm just going to drag it in. Hooray, it's uploaded! Hooray, Flog! Full screen. Now you don't have to see the blue in the background.
The club.
You can see all up here, this little window bar tells me all of the parts in my Photoshop file. Down here tells me something called deformers. Right now this is all animation terms, but I promise it'll make sense soon. My parts I can turn on and off, so I can theoretically hide the top lip. Let's do something a little more exaggerated, like I can hide the eyeballs.
Ha! It's a monster.
I can hide the hands. I can hide the body. But now this is good. It's important for you to see that because it's important for you to see how I drew the hands and the legs. Everything I have is layered in Photoshop, where the things that are the furthest back are the lowest layer, and the things that are the furthest forward are the highest layer. If I want to change the order of things, you see these little numbers back here? It might be hard to see right now. It says 500. I can change that number to like 400, and now I lose it. It went back in space, or like I could do that with the body. That'll be a little more obvious. I can move it back in space.
Wow.
I don't want to. I actually set up my my Photoshop file so that everything is exactly the order that I want it to be, because listen, I only have an hour to do stuff, and by my count I have 35 minutes to animate a model so that by the time we're done, I can pull up VTube Studio, and we will have a working model that I can go like, "Bap, bap, bap," to. That's our
Speed
goal.
run.
That's our goal. I think I can do it. I've never timed myself to see if I can, so I'm hoping I can do it. All right.
I mean, you rigged my angry face perfectly.
Yep. So there are things that the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to select everything. I'm literally doing Control A. Everything is now selected. And I am going to create what's called a mesh. The mesh makes it so that I can basically take these flat images and warp them in different ways. There's a little button up here. It has a little triangle. It says auto. Click. I'm going to make it all standard mesh. Look, it made a mesh. These little triangles with these dots are now manipulable. I can manipulate them, and that'll make things wide or squat. I squash and stretch. Close out of that. The next thing I need to do is I need to create something called a textured atlas. This is going to save as a PNG on my computer, and it just tells the computer, like, this is what everything looks like. That's this button here. Boop. Yes?
I got distracted. Which program is this again?
This is VTube. No, this is LiveTV.
Let's do. Okay, thank you. I'm
just
sorry,
gonna
I love
make-
you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just going to make a large thing. There we go. I made a large thing for what is a very small file. I didn't need to make it this large. Whatever. Perfect. It all fits and nothing's overlapping. Great. Okay. Everything's now ready. I can start creating warps.
Winning!
Winning. Here's where all my warp stuff lives. So think of this as like step 1 up here. Can you guys see my pointer? Okay, okay. This is step 2. These are all my warps. We've got our generic warp deformer, we've got our rotators, and this is a different kind of rotator. I'm going to start with my generic rotator. I'm just going to create a rotator. It's going to be a parent, and I'm just going to call this body. And now I have this outline, and I'm just going to outline it for literally like everything. My character is in frame. Hooray. Beautiful, my character's in frame. Yay! But now I want to be able to make my character like turn his face a little bit. Like I want him to be able to look side to side, right? So I'm going to create a new warp. My new warp is going to be called, and it's going to be a child. That means it's a subfolder. It's a child of my body. That sounds weird. I'm sorry, animation terms are crazy. And yeah, we'll call it face.
Giving face.
And the face, I can scale it down to where the face is. The face is everything in here.
Face is everywhere.
The face is everything. Fabulous. This is the stuff, anything I put in here is going to be coming in this area, and that's my face. The other thing I can do is now, since that's my face, I'm going to create subfolders that tell me mouth and eye, right? So I'm going to create subfolders to my face. We're going to have our mouth. This part's the boring part because I just have to like literally just create warps for everything. So I will do this quickly. If anyone has questions about this process, please raise your hand and I'm happy to.
So anything you need, oh, sorry.
Yeah, what's up?
So anything you need animated just needs a warp. no matter what.
Exactly. I like to make sure that I, left eye, this one, okay. I like to make sure that I am very precise about like giving everything their space. I like to make sure my labels are labeled neatly so I can see everything clearly. It's a personal thing.
And can warps overlap? Like
Warps super can overlap.
Okay.
Currently, I am making the eye warps, which are technically on top of the face warp.
so as long as they're like neatly organized.
Yeah, it's personally, it's just an organization style. Whatever works for you, works for you. I'm not going to animate the arms and like, you know what? I'm going to show you a really quick way to animate the arms. I'm gonna make my arms rotate. I'm going to make the arms rotate. I'm going to use this deformer in the middle. It's called a rotation deformer. I'm actually going to use this one on the end because it allows me to control the direction of it. So I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to name it something different. Oh, it's going to make me do it over here. I'm going to name it, what is this, right arm?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right arm, and I'm going to do another one as, I want to make sure it's under the body layer. Okay. I'm going to do another one over here. This is going to be left arm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. L-arm. Cool.
Larm.
Larm. Technically, let me get my pointer tool. Technically, at any point, I can now I can assign something to this rotator and then I can rotate it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to assign things, like assign body parts to where I say I want them to go. For example, I want the body, I'm just going to drag the body layer into body. Nailed it. I'm going to drag the mouth parts into mouth. On it, I'm going to drag left eye to left eye. Right eye to right eye. I'm going to drag the hands. I'm going to put left hand with, oh, I never named this. Sorry. That's my fault. L. Sure. Larm. I'm going to put left hand with left hand, right hand with right hand. Super simple, right? And I'm not going crazy. And I'm just going to put this in the body layer. I don't know. I can do whatever I want. There we go.
Sure, why not?
Everything is organized now. My little flow chart of deformers tells me everything is organized. Yay!
Yay.
Yay! Thank you. Now if I want to, I can start moving this arm around.
Oh.
Witchcraft.
Now the thing of it is, yes, question over there.
Not a question about layers or child making,
Yeah.
but
Animation is weird.
but does Cubism allow for vectorized graphics?
Yes. What it will do is it'll probably just flatten it. So you will lose some fidelity. You might not lose fidelity. I have not tried doing this with vector items, so you might not. You're still using a Photoshop file, and the Photoshop images will still be vectors, so it's very possible your vectored images will stay clean and crisp. I just don't have personal experience, so I can't tell you if it's been compressed down or rasterized.
Fair enough.
Look at me using the terms. Everyone thinks that I'm such an airhead, and then I like throw down the terms, and they're like, "Oh wait, she actually knows stuff."
Thinks you're an airhead.
I think I'm an airhead.
I
Raise
don't.
your hand if you thought I was an airhead. Oh my god, you guys are so nice!
Marcy!
And then hands go up. All right.
Or-
So, I told you I was gonna make this character look turn his head, right? I told you this. Cool.
It's gonna turn heads.
We're going to do something called, we're going to modify parameters. Those of you who have done any animation before, we are going to create keyframes.
Ooh.
Those of you who don't know animation terms, hey, let's talk about animation terms. A keyframe is the position that you want motion to happen in. So here might be the start position, this might be the end position. Everything in between is called tweening because it's in between. They were so creative with the keyframe, and then in the 11th hour they dropped the ball with the word tweening.
The slums are not animating on lines.
So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the fastest way I can think of. The fastest way I can think of. I have my face over here. And over down here in my parameters section, sounds so complicated, but I assure you it's not. In my parameters section, I have something called angle X. And if you remember from trigonometry, angle X, which one's angle X? Show me with your arm. This is angle X. This one's angle Y. Angle X means that things move this away.
I feel like
Angle
it's a-
Y means things move this away. So we're going to start with angle X, because I told you I was going to do right to left, right?
Isn't that a together boy band?
Yes.
And now I'm in NSYNC. Anyway.
Anything from the 90s. That was a go-to.
for the Goofy movie.
Down here I have a bunch of keyframe auto things. There's one that has 3 dots. I'm going to hit 3 dots because that gives me center dot, right dot, left dot, as you would think. I'm just going to go ahead and move this off to the side. Oh, this looks stupid. Hang on. Let me see if I can give a warp. Remember all these dots? All these dots can now move and tilt.
Oh, so it's just like using warp in Photoshop.
It's just like using a warp in Photoshop. You can select multiple ones, but it's like super duper easy. I'm gonna try to keep it like pretty light as far as deforming goes. All right, now watch what happens. I did that on one layer. I'm gonna go back to the middle, boop, and now, here I'll click out so you can see. Now it looks to the side.
But
I'm gonna-
somehow it
it's
still
an
looks like
eye.
it's looking at you.
I'm gonna do it again, but different, but on the other side. It is. This is no joke. This is how all of us animators do it. this. It just starts like this. I wish there was more to it, but this is as easy as you think. That's why I'm trying to do this for a live panel in 35 minutes or less. All right, so now when I click out, I can show you. Yeah, right? It's looking. Okay, so we made it look side to side. But what about up and down? I'm still in my face layer. Notice I'm still in the face layer. Wait, is this not in the eye? Yeah, this needs to be in right eye. I'm gonna just drag it over. Nothing. That's in case I'm doing something specific. I'll show you what I'm doing specifically. All right, still in face layer. Yeah, have fun. On angle Y now. Remember that's the one of the up and down layer. I'm just gonna create a 3-dot keyframe. Boop. And the slider all the way to this side. I don't know, what is that, left, right? I have dyslexia, I don't know. That's gonna be looking up. So I'm gonna create the illusion of him looking up. This is my like squash and stretch for looking up. So now, look up. Right? Wasn't that easy? It's that easy. You just squash and stretch. You make the bottom layer a little wider, like the bottom part a little wider, top part a little narrower, and it just gives the illusion of looking up. The opposite will give you the illusion of looking down. So I'll drop it just a little bit. Bless you, stranger in the hallway. Did you guys hear this sneeze? Okay, cool. Bless you again. All right. And now, he looks. Oops, I almost, it looks like I moved it this way. He looks up and down. That was so easy. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to make it, watch this. Now I have 6 keyframes. I want to make it so that when my frog is looking to this direction, he can also look down. That's what I want to make. I've just linked these together using this little link button. But if I go to the burger over here, that someone called it that, and now I can't uncall it that.
Burger.
There's a button I can press that says synthesize corners, and that's basically what that means is make it so that this corners animation, my angle X animation, applies when angle Y is happening, or synthesize corners. Go for it. So now my frog can look in all directions.
Yo.
Isn't that neat? We just did some really basic animation, and that took us no time at all. I'm going to show you how to open and close the mouth. I'm going to show you how to blink the eyes, and then we're going to put it on the thing. Then we're going to export it. We're going to put it on the thing. And you know what the best part is? I haven't even saved once.
I don't believe that. Please save. So chaotic.
I know I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
That's really chaotic.
I'm sorry.
It's normal for her.
It is so normal for me.
Which points to force a save.
I literally have emotes on my Twitch channel for any followers because I don't want subs to have to be the only ones who hold this power. Any of my followers can just hit an emote that says save in bold
Especially after a
letters.
fight with Ursula.
Oh my god. Fly. Save. Alright, I saved. I saved everybody.
Well, it's saving.
It's saving. It's in progress.
Not all
Okay, I
heroes wear
saved
capes.
everybody.
Nice.
Look, it's in the folder.
Not all heroes wear capes.
That's right. That's right. VTube Studio, Live 2D is very cool because they have a lot of parameters already set up for you. Like for example, the eye open. For eyes being open, there are really only 2 stages. Your eyes are open or your eyes are closed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. I'm going to only use 2 states then. I'm going to use this 2 dot instead of the 3 dots because it's either your eyes are open or your eyes are closed. I'm going to go to my eyes. Here's my eye. Yeah, I'll do it on the folder itself. I'm going to go to my eyes and I'm going to click the 2 dots. I want to make sure this says IL open, so I'm going to do LI because the IL is referring to your left eye. Boop. Now I have parameters. This bar says open. This bar says close, so I'm going to zoom in. Let me see if I remember how to zoom in this app. When I'm not on a mouse app. There we go. When I'm not on a mouse, I don't remember how to do zoom. I guess I can do it this way. That's fine. That's fine. Watch me close an eye. Ready? Oops. Now the eye is closed. I open, I closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. Easy stuff. I am genuinely trying to make it as easy as possible. A lot of times, like especially for VTube models that are like anime inspired, the eye layer will have like a billion layers. And if that's the case, you just for each and every single one, like for the lid, for the eye whites, for the eyelashes, for the lower lashes, all of those things, you would do the same animation. It would just be that same process. It just means, it's the same idea, it's just repetitive. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm doing the easiest version of this so that you can take it and run with it later. I'm gonna find I R open, and I'm gonna make sure I'm clicking the RI, and I'll make 2 dots, one for open, one for closed. Right now the eye is open, I'm gonna make an animation for it to be closed. And now it's closed. Nailed it, I think I'm gonna make it a little. There we go. And now it's closed. Nailed it, I can open it, I can close it, open, close, open, close. Easy stuff, right? So far, has anything here been difficult? Cool, let's do the mouth, because that's probably gonna be the most challenging thing that I show you today. I know. Scrolling down more, I will eventually find mouth. Did you guys see mouth?
Yep.
Cool. This one says mouth form. Today I'm going to ignore mouth form. Mouth form is the different poses that your mouth can make, because your mouth doesn't just go. Your mouth can also go and your mouth can do lots of different forms. I usually use 4 forms for my anime characters, because the more forms you use, the more you have to animate, but the more lifelike the talking will be. Right now I'm going to completely ignore it for Fwog. Fwog is going to open his mouth, Fwog is going to close his mouth, and that is all Fwog will do.
He's a Muppet.
He's a Muppet. But you know what? We're here for Muppets. So I'm going to ignore mouth form, and I'm going to just go mouth open. Since there are 2 states, am I going to use the 2 dot or the 3 dot? What do you think? Show me with your fingers now. 2 states, open or closed, we're going to use the 2 dots
Easy
for it.
time, Larcy.
Shut up, I hate you so much.
I love you, Larcy.
Normally,
Somebody does.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you.
We love you, Larcy.
Normally, I would do a deform directly onto this warp deformer, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do it for each single one of these, and you will see why in a moment. Yes, a question.
Is it better to make your initial drawing for the mouth an open mouth or a closed mouth?
I prefer to do an open mouth. And the reason why I prefer to do an open mouth is because what I can do for my closed mouth is I can make all of my assets, and then I can close them up, and then I can manipulate it to open form. I like to do it that way because I find it easier to close a mouth than to have a closed mouth and open it. That's especially because the back of the mouth. If I just had the back of the mouth be non-existent, I wouldn't be able to import it. Like I would want to have this available. I always start with my characters with their mouths open, which means their PNGs look weird as heck. But it does make life a lot easier for the animating process. It's a great question. So I'm gonna select all of them because I'm gonna just be lazy about it, and I'm just gonna do a 2 dot. This technically is, this dot should be mouth closed. Right now my mouth is open though. That's not gonna work. All right, let's start with the back of the mouth. All right, back of the mouth. I'm gonna close you. Ooh, I think I have everything selected by mistake. I should only have back of the mouth open right now. There we go. I'm gonna close the back of the mouth. I'm just gonna close it. It's just gonna live somewhere. I'm gonna make sure it's in the same plane of existence. Okay. There's the back of the mouth.
Beautiful.
I thought so too. Now for the lips, the best way I can think of it, I'm actually going to change my mesh to be really tight. So I'm going to go back to my mesh, and I'm going to give it, instead of a standard mesh, I'm going to give it a heavy. Notice how those lines, those triangles got a lot closer to that art line. I'm going to do that again for the bottom lip. I'm going to change it to a heavy. That's me being really, really careful. The other thing I'm going to do is on the top lip, I'm going to put in these warp points. I clicked on the little warp point. Now I'm just going to click and I'm just like kind of tracing by clicking. Those of you who do vector art probably are like, oh yeah, this feels right. This will make it so, and let's zoom in a little bit.
How's that go?
This will make it so when I touch those points, I can straighten my line out. I don't want to for this moment, but like, I'm gonna maybe do like one of these. I'll make it. No, I do like that. I do like that. I do like that. That's fine. I'm more interested in doing that for the bottom lip, because for the bottom lip, I want to straighten that out. Because, it's bottom. I put it way too much. Holy moly. I don't need that many. Cheese and crackers, mate. Let's raise it up. Let's raise the roof. But what I'm doing is I'm just basically trying to hide it behind the upper lip. I do need to still hide the inside of the mouth, so I guess I'm gonna just start pulling down these little warp points, these little points until it disappears. There we go.
Yay!
What mouth? I see no mouth. Looks great, right? So that's the mouth closed.
Yeah!
Now I do notice that when I do this, I do see a little bit of this friend here, so I'm gonna just make sure that in the closed mouth state, I move that up a little bit. So that way when it opens, I don't
Ribbit.
see it. Look, this is, now we can talk. Isn't
Oh.
that ridiculous? Like, we did it, fam. We did it, because now, watch this. I'm gonna have its mouth open. Watch this, I can make its head move.
Oh my god.
Because it applied everything to the face. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Alright, so the last thing we need to do is we need to export it, and then we get to use it. Because I told you, this is the thing we were going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and save.
unforgettable.
I'm going to save. This is cool though, because now you can say that not only did we make a model in the panel, but that you can use this model that we made in the panel together.
We're all just be flawed.
Alright, I am going to export for runtime. Now I'm going to tell you right now, there are some physics things that we can do in the future, and if you want to learn more about physics, like hair movement and bounce and stuff like that, I'd be happy to show you or point you to some resources that do that. Like I said, we were doing a real simple model today, and I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than Flog. We are going to export for MOC3 file. Cute. And I'm just going to ignore any of this. I don't care. I don't know. Remember what half of this means. I'm just going to click OK. OK.
Yeah!
And I'm saving it to my Flog folder.
Okay, but who wants to watch me play Frogger tonight? As Flogger.
Oh my God, I kind of do.
Sign me up.
All right, I'm gonna copy Flog, and in my VTube Studio folder, this is the actual. So when you open VTube Studio, I download it through Steam. I usually open the file asset, like it'll be like, in Steam you can find the folder that everything's in. I just, instead of going through Steam all the time to open the folder, I just created a desktop shortcut because I like convenience. We're gonna go into the VTube Studio data. And I bet people can already tell we're gonna go to the streaming assets folder. And when I click the streaming assets folder, can you figure out which of these crazy folders we're gonna put in our live 2D model?
Temp. BTS 5.
I hate you so much. We're gonna put it in the live 2D models folder. I'm just gonna paste Flog in. Look, there's Flog. In Flog's folder, he has this is his atlas, his textured atlas. This is all of the layers that Flog is. I told you he's a body, he's legs, he's arms, he's eyes, like all of that. That's Flog. So now he's been loaded in, which means we can load him into the program. I'm actually just delighted that we did that all and we still have time to spare. I'm actually just charmed. All right, there's me. I want to make sure. Okay, yep. All right, screw off me. We want Flog. There he is in all caps.
Moment of truth.
Flog.
And because it's the first time I'm using it, I'm just going to auto set up. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am Flog. Yay! So even though it is a very limited model, and I'm on a webcam, so it's not going as well, look at all the expressions. We can be like, Ah! No, it didn't work because I was too.
I think your chin was too high up. There you
Oh
go.
my god.
Also, my webcam is really crappy.
This is my sad frog face.
I swear it's from like 10 years ago.
All glory to Flog. All possessions to Flog.
Now I will say that you
All
look.
praise the
I look
Lord.
very dumb when I stream because I really over animate my face to make sure that this goes. Especially because I'm on a webcam, but like. I love it! Yay! Okay, now everybody can get, and this is actually why I set the background to bubbles. Oh! Since we have time, do I have a lily pad? I can make a lily pad. I'm gonna show you how to put an item into a thing. I'm gonna use Photoshop.
This is what I like to do.
Well, because we
Make
so
myself
yeah,
stuff.
we still have time. So I'm going to add embellishments to Flog. I'm also gonna close out these things for now.
Or you could
Yes.
give him a knife.
Yes.
Yes.
Wish I had a knife.
For future.
Give Flog
Come
knife.
on.
Come on, Photoshop.
Frog needs a knife.
Come on, Photoshop.
Angry Flog.
Flog wants to fight the
Photoshop is a big file.
Photoshop is a very big file.
Just keep the knife away from me.
Or a big, I mean,
Thinking
it's
the knife is frightening.
a big program. Come on. Come on, sure. I'll do. That sounds great. Create. Just make the thing, please. Alright, I'm going to draw a quick lily pad. I'm going to show you how to upload items. So let's do a real quick lily pad. Come on, there we go.
Yeah, what's up?
Really quick lily pad here. It's lagging like nobody's business. Come on.
It's just invisible ink.
It's invisible ink. No, it's lagging because my CPU has too many programs open.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
Unplug.
And it's also not a
Plug
map.
it back in.
that works.
It worked yesterday. I guess it works today.
No, it worked this morning.
Yeah, this has happened
Oh
on
no, I
stream
wasn't
before.
talking about the lily pad.
When in doubt, just unplug and plug things back in. That's what I always do.
We did that with our CS.
Alrighty. And I'll just create an outline for that. I'm
Oh,
being
yeah,
as
that's fine.
fast as I can, making a quick little
Yeah, no
asset
worries,
for
that's
us.
fine.
Pac-Man.
It's basically Pac-Man, but
When he
I'm
feels
going.
sick.
I'm gonna just do like here's
Oh,
some
sweet pea is the
lily pad. moment. That looks like a lily pad, right? Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. looks like
We're
a
on board.
lily
We're
pad.
on board. And I'm
Looks
just gonna.
angry.
How dare
That's my face when I get up in the morning before coffee.
Alright, so I'm gonna save that. I'll actually save it directly to VTube Studio. I swear it's on my
Okay.
desktop. I
Yeah,
should
no
see a
worries.
shortcut to VTube. There
Alright,
it is.
on this panel's over.
Instead of saving it to models, I'm gonna save it to items.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna save it as a PNG. Oh, I have to hit save as.
You have to
get it
do
as
the
a PNG. Yeah, I
export.
have to do. I could have just done the fast export. That's also fine. Boo-boo. Thanks for waiting for me on this one. It is a pain in the butt when I accidentally save it as the wrong file type. YouTube Studio Data, Streaming Assets, items. And I'm gonna save it as a PNG. Pew! And it's gonna be a lily pad. I think I spelled lily wrong. I don't care.
Angry.
Alright, now that I've done that, I can import an item in this little star. And I'm gonna look for my lily pad. Cute.
It's gonna be so angry that it's being sat on.
And I want it to be behind my character. Everything over here, as you can see with the blue dot, that's all the stuff that's close to character. Everything back here is now behind my character. So I'm gonna make it behind my character. And sure, I'm not gonna pin it to my model, so that means it won't move with when my model moves. But I could make it move with my model. I guess I'm gonna move this here, and I think I have to make it bigger. So I'm gonna make my lily pad big.
Super.
Nice.
Yay! Yay! All right, at this point, I am going to ask if anyone has any, oh my god, here we go, slideshow from current slide. Does anyone have, hang on. Does anyone have any questions? questions from the audience, or just want to like talk about things, or do you want to just see Flog more? I mean, we got 6 minutes. The world is yours. Yes, back
So,
there.
Here's a question more for like once you've got started doing VTubing, like what's a great way to start networking to like make some connections? And that
That's a
sort of
great
thing?
question. So in case those of you could not hear, the question was, once you have got your model, everything's going, what's a great way to like network and start your community? Thing number one, have a Discord. I know this sounds crazy, but have a place where people, like if you're streaming, have a place where people can go when you're not streaming. I know it sounds dumb, but like that is a great place to start. When you're streaming, have a command for like, here's my Discord, you are invited, so that people can join.
You could also join other people's Discords, as well as like there's community Discords for events like this one, for example, where there's a lot of people and they would see your stuff. If
In
you post
fact-
that you're going live,
I was gonna say, in fact, on con community Discords like PortCons, there is a place, like a channel, or a sub-channel, that's for, are you streaming? Put down your stream links, so that people who are part of the PortCon community can see like, oh, there's someone from PortCon who's streaming, I can check them out. I do wanna caution against joining other people's Discords just for clout. Please do not do what is called clout chasing. That thing where you follow someone or you communicate with someone only because you are interested in how it's gonna benefit you. That would be the equivalent of going to someone else's stream and saying like, hey, I'm about to stream this game in 30 minutes. Come join my stream. Stream sniping is gross.
Yeah.
Clout chasing is gross. If you like somebody and what they do, then you should join their community because you like them and what you do. You are all welcome to come join my community and come join my Discord
Fun time.
because you guys are cool people, and I imagine that if you have any further questions, this is a great way to contact me. It's also a great way for me to like reach out to you and be like, here's how to get Flog. Because weirdly enough, I don't have a QR code set up to quickly download everything you need for Flog because we just made him. And I don't have internet access, otherwise I'd set it up now. I don't have that yet, so when I get home, so like by tomorrow morning, when I get, like by tomorrow morning, if you guys message me, you guys can contact me either through Twitch, or my social media is, anything is at Minkthesater, even my Gmail is at Minkthesater, or Larcy's is Legend of Larcy on everything, but on Twitch she's Larcy-ness.
Yep.
You guys can
And
message us in any way, shape, or form, whether it's just to ask questions, to say hey, to get Flog. I don't care. I just want you to call me. You know what they say? It's like, call me. Same
call
idea.
me, beat me if you want to reach me.
But I would say that those are the biggest ways to get outreach. Your hashtags are going to be really helpful on things like Twitter or on or even on Twitch itself. VTuber is a hashtag. That's a good one. Yes, question over there.
Are Twitch raids a good way of gaining?
Twitch raids are a good way to show support for the channels you love. They are not necessarily a good way of getting people to come to your channel because it's usually you are offloading to someone else.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like the folks that I raid will sometimes raid me back. You know, and if you have like a group of friends that all stream, supporting each other and giving each other browser tabs and being a part of each other's communities is a really nice way to share folks. Like, I know that a lot of the folks that come to my streams also come to my friends' streams. And because when they see my friends communicating and engaging on my stream, they wind up talking to each other and everyone becomes familiar with each other. They know Larciness because she's chatted with me or she's been a guest on my stream. A big way to grow a community is to invite people to come guest on your stream and be a part of it too. That way you put other people's names out there. So like when Larcy comes to join my streams, people get to know who she is as a person and they might want to see her stuff. I'm a big fan of giving shout outs. That's where you just do the command shout out and you shout out to people who you see in your stream. Like I'll see some of my fellow VTubers or just my fellow MeatTubers come into my stream all the time and I'll just be like, oh, Larcy's in my stream, quick, shout out to Larcy, and it'll give the link for her information, what kind of games that she was playing. a lot of this is the same advice that I would give for any streamer. So I don't necessarily find it specific to VTubing. It's any streaming advice can be applied for whatever kind of streaming you're doing.
I feel like the basic takeaway is make friends. Friends are more solid than bots.
Yes. Your goal should be to form your community, make friends with people that you love. Your goal should not be, I want the numbers. If you find your goal is, I want the numbers will not come and you will be frustrated. If you find that your goal is, I want to have my fam, however big my fam is, I want to have my fam and I want to have my friends, you will be successful. And that is the weirdest paradox.
If you think of it this way too, having 10 people watching you is like having 10 people hang out with you.
And that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
I'm an omnivert. There are some days where I'm like,
When I watch some of the bigger streams where there's thousands of people talking all at once, I don't like it. Because not only does the person streaming like not interact with their people because they can't see, there's so much talk going on, you can't keep up with it. I like the smaller scale streamers where I get in, I'm like, hi, and they're like, hi Larcy!
hashtag support small streamers.
Yeah, it's way
Alright.
more fun when they have something to say to you or you have something to say to them and you can see each other.
Friends and VTube family, that is our time, and I do want to be respectful. There is another panel happening in half an hour. Anyone who wants FWOG or my contact information and doesn't want to get it through just doing it that way, I do have business cards, and I'm going to throw them down at the table so you don't have to talk to me if you don't want to, because sometimes we just want to order delivery, we don't want to call delivery, but I will also be here too as I break down.
And if you have questions